Okay, guys, so I'm back here. I'm on lunch right now from training these guys at at the school here, trying to get their CDLs and everything. And I was just thinking about something else because, like I had mentioned in another video, I was talking to some people on Facebook about helping them out, trying to get them lined up on how to set up a brokerage, how to actually become a broker and everything. And I heard one of the craziest things, and it's I probably heard it before and just brushed it off, but I was a lot younger when I started doing this. There's been a big time gap between then and now when I actually set my brokerage up. And I heard the craziest thing last night, and I'm going to go ahead and explain this now about the difference between brokers, agents, forwarders, and a new one that I just haven't heard this until just last night is a sub agent. Again, I'm sure that I've heard this at some point, but it just hit me really hard last night, and I thought about it. Sub agent didn't take long to figure out what was going on here, and I seen somebody actually questioning me and my certifiability, if you want to call that a word. I guess it might be, but questioning my certifiability on being a broker. And I told them flat out, I'm certified as I can be. I got all my legal licensing and everything to that effect. And they were trying to question me, so I went and searched them out, and come to find out they're peddling around and picking up agents, which is no big deal. But I had talked to this woman who had been I guess somewhat taken advantage of on one of these broker schools, and told that she could go out and work for someone else, and she got to being a sub agent for a bigger brokerage, actually. And I guess that there's nothing really wrong with it, illegal with it, but let me tell you what a sub agent, what that entails is pretty well, you have your broker, the agent works for the broker, and the agent either has too much work on their plate or doesn't feel like doing any work at all. So they find somebody that'll work for them underneath of them and basically pawn off all the work, and they're literally doing nothing. They're finding loads and paperwork and all that and whatnot, and they're basically the assistant to the broker, and they have went and got their own assistant, which is now the sub agent. Now, if you can remember back to when you were a child, and assuming you were the older child, or maybe you were the younger one and this happened to you, but you get that older sibling that goes ahead and talks you into cleaning their room, so that way they don't get in trouble with mom and dad. Or they say that if you do the dishes, then they'll give you part of the allowance. And you really think about that one, that's the exact situation that we're talking about right now. This is somebody that doesn't want to do their work and has figured out a way to pawn it off on somebody else, and then promise you some kind of outlandish large portion, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I heard a 40% of the take of the pay, and I mean, I guess if they're just finding the loads and shipping them off to these sub agents, then 40% is probably not that big of a deal to them, and they still take 60% of their cut, and yet they had to do zero of the work. So this sub agent thing, people really need to understand the terminology, because you will find crooked people in this industry. You will find crooked owner operators, and I'm sure that'll upset somebody. You will find crooked brokers. You will find crooked forwarders, and there's there's crooked people of all types. That's all there is to it. It's not any one specific group. It's all the groups. You'll find somebody bad in them. And just, you need to know your terminology. Broker, number one. Broker is the person who actually holds the so-called licensing, which it is licensing, and authority, because they have put forth the money in order to go ahead and do that. They're holding the insurances, they're holding the bonds, they're holding basically the key ring to all the offices, all the everything. Then you have the agent, which is somebody who's either, they're just that's what they want to do. It's something that they enjoy, and they're handling a mass of the paperwork, and they're working for said broker. Now, most brokers will do work and work alongside their employees as long as they're a good broker, not just pawning work off. But some do. And then you'll have your agents working for the broker, and they're doing the mass of the work. They're pushing the papers, doing the faxes, but it's ultimately the broker himself who has to sign off on everything. He gives the approval, the authority, because he or she is that person that has that authority. They have to put their signature down. The agents can't actually do that because they're not the signing figure of the company. And then you have the sub-agents, which is just tricky. Again, I can only see how that could become a bit of a paperwork hassle and mess. Unless, of course, you're really educated on this one and have done it for quite some time. But it seems more like a setup, and I don't really want to call it a scam because that's a little bit harsh, but they're more, you're being used. If you're a sub-agent, you're being used, you're being taken advantage of. And forwarders, I don't even really want to get into that one. I don't even exactly understand how these guys have this title, but they operate similar to a broker. They have their own set of numbers and their own set of rules that they go by, but that's the basic terminology, and you need to understand that. Don't ever sub-agent for anyone, because you're flat out putting in the legwork, and at the end of the day, when somebody calls for a book of business or something like that, you're not going to be allowed to take it. I mean, that's just all it is. And if you go to a company, somebody trying to promise you that, I've seen one, I'm not going to mention their name, but they say, don't ever let a broker take your book of business, keep those people, those belong to you. I will forewarn you right now, be very leery of companies like that, because there's not one decent broker that I can think of, and it's nothing against the agents or anything, nothing against the brokers, but they're not just going to let you walk out of their office, place of establishment, with a book of business that has their business in it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And you most often will end up signing a no-compete agreement or a non-compete agreement that says you're not going to work in the industry for X amount of time, usually 2 years. Or if you do, or if you are allowed to be released and go work somewhere else, that you're not going to try and steal any of the customers. That explains the non-compete agreement, because that's just bad business, taking stuff from one place and going to another. Now, if you're a completely independent person, it's a different story, but that's another matter altogether. And so, long story short, if you're getting into it and you're not exactly sure, I mean, by all means, get a hold of me, contact me through my channel here. I'll leave my email and everything down below. If you want more information on this, know your terminology, know what you're doing, don't get suckered, ask questions, and understand there are rules, guidelines, regulations, and everyone has a different set no matter where you go. Just know your terminology, don't get taken advantage of, ask questions, and know what's going on around you. The more informed you are, the better off you're going to be in this industry, because there's crooked people all over the place just looking to make a dollar and make it as easy as they possibly can. So you all have a good day. If you have any questions, by all means, just get a hold of me at my email down below, and please subscribe. Have a great day.